In Germany, they first came for the communists, and I didn't speak up because I wasn't a communist. Then they came for the Jews, and I didn't speak up because I wasn't a Jew. Then they came for the trade unionists, and I didn't speak up because I wasn't a trade unionist. Then they came for the Catholics, and I didn't speak up because I was a Protestant. Then they came for me, and by that time, no one was left to speak up. Hi everyone, I'm Susan McNeil, your host of Speak Up, and very glad to be with you again today. We have a terrific show for you this afternoon. We are going to be speaking with Laina Barakat, who is the executive director of, wait for it, I know you know what I'm about to say, it's the Monadnock International Film Festival, also known as MONIF. You've been watching the promo here on Cheshire TV for a couple of weeks now, and we are going to just have some fun today talking about nothing political, although film, of course, is often political. But we are going to be discussing what it's been like for Laina and her board and crew of organizers to actually put together the region's first really big and lofty, thus the word international, film festival. It will happen April 4th, 5th, and 6th, so mark your calendars right now because it's going to be terrific in every possible way, from red carpet to Klieg lights to the Colonial Theater and the Arts Center at Brickyard Pond and Putnam Theater and all kinds of fun things that you are going to definitely want to be a part of. If you've been missing Sundance this year, as I have, never been, hope to get there one day, then you will definitely want to be involved with the Monadnock International Film Festival. So Laina, welcome so much. I'm really pleased to have you here today and to be talking about the festival and everything, every aspect of it. We're going to be doing these shows every couple of weeks in the coming months as we lead up to the film festival. And today our topic will be predominantly, what did it take and who were the players to bring something like an international film festival to light right here in Keene, New Hampshire. So let's start with you, because you're the woman in charge, the executive director, you're at the top of that food chain, and I'm sure people are curious. They may know you, as I did originally, as a musician, a really talented musician.
Thank you.
With a band called Girl and Piano.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about that first.
Sure. Well, I love music. I love songwriting. It's something that I started doing when I was in high school, actually, at my school. Somehow I convinced one of my teachers that I should be allowed to, instead of writing a research paper, that I should be allowed to write a song instead. I have no idea.
See how persuasive you are.
Yeah, exactly. That's where it all started. And then I haven't stopped writing since. So I'm in the studio right now with technically my fourth studio endeavor right now. It'll be our sort of third album, our first full-length album, and I'm recording it here in Keene and loving every minute of it.
So your music career is still very much alive and well.
It is. It's on the back burner, but it is alive. I'm clearly still, it's still beating. I'm still going into the studio recording, but it's...
But one of the most exciting things that I have learned about you is that in addition to being that creative soul, you also have a history with film.
Yep.
So tell us all a little bit about what it is that brings you to the role of executive director of an international film festival.
So the main thing is the film, obviously. I moved to New Hampshire for film, which is really funny. Didn't you say that out loud?
Well, that is kind of funny. Yeah, you moved to New Hampshire for film.
I did. I was studying, I studied a few different places, and I was last left in Florida studying a degree of philosophy and literature and sort of figuring out what I wanted to do with my life. I knew it was something in the arts. I didn't know what exactly, or if I wanted to teach philosophy. And I finally realized, it was a sort of big dawning moment after I started a film society there and a little film production crew, that movies were what I wanted to do. And so I racked my brain trying to figure out, do I want to go to film school? Do I want to try to be an apprentice? And I decided that apprenticing, if I could find the right person, would be the way to go for me. And I happened to come upon a screener of The Sensation of Sight, which was a film made, gosh, 7, 8 years ago now
Yes.
by Either Or Films.
Yeah, I saw that actually at the Colonial Theater.
Oh yeah, okay,
many
great,
years ago.
great, yeah. And actually, the Colonial Theater, the event there, the screening was my first thing that I ever produced while I was
No
in
kidding.
Keene. Yeah, I had just moved here a few weeks earlier. It wasn't all me, not remotely. I helped. But yeah, it was. I saw the screener for Sensation of Sight and knew this is the company I want to work for. Their philosophy, their sense of filmmaking and artistry was just everything that I loved, and I had not long before that watched a film called Andrei Rublev, which is a Russian film by Andrei Tarkovsky, and that film opened my eyes to a completely new way of filmmaking, and film as poem, really. And when I saw The Sensation of Sight, it was reminiscent of the new Eastern European filmmakers that I was starting to get interested in, and here there was someone doing something similar right in the United States. So that was exciting for me.
Sensation of Sights was filmed in Peterborough.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, right in Peterborough.
Yeah.
So I got in touch with it was Buzz McLaughlin who was the founding partner, producing partner of the company, and Aaron Wiederspan, and started emailing back and forth and sort of persuaded them to a year later ask me to move up here and intern with them. So I lived in Nelson for 4 months and worked on that premiere, a few other little debuts of the film. We went down to New York and I postered for a New York premiere and Concord, that kind of thing, and just sort of got my feet wet and realized this is what I wanted to continue doing. Stuck around, didn't leave them alone, and continued to badger them until now. About 5 years later, I just produced our latest film called Only Daughter, and we shot that in Claremont, New Hampshire in August, and in 2 weeks I'll be going with that film to Cinequest, where we're having our premiere in San Jose, California.
Well, how exciting is that? Now, I read about Only Daughter, and I admit I didn't realize that you were involved with that.
Yeah.
But a childhood friend of my granddaughter, Emily.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
Emily Seymour.
Yeah, she was our
the lead
star. She's
right?
our lead
She's
actress.
the only daughter.
Yeah. She is. She was
Wow.
a gem that we found, that Aaron found here in New Hampshire. We had known her mother, and I remember the day her mother said, "Oh, you should, Aaron should take a look at Emily, and she's quite talented." And I thought, okay, sure, a local actress, why not,
Yeah, right.
And Aaron interviewed her and did an audition, and I remember a few weeks later, Aaron, connecting with me and saying, Emily, she's got something. She's really got something.
She really does.
Yeah.
I saw her recently in the play that she did in Chesterfield.
Yeah. Oh,
what was the name of that again? About the stamp.
Yes. It's a 2-penny stamp. It was about that.
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
gosh, what was it called?
I don't know. Should have been more prepared if I'd realized
Aaron
we were
would
gonna...
remember if he was
But
here.
anyway, she was fantastic.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So
She's
I am
great.
just thrilled that you're involved in this production with her. New Hampshire is such an interesting place for film. I mean, first of all, Jumanji.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, I did a little piece about that. I had a press
Oh,
pass
did
for
you?
a week,
Cool.
and I was
Oh,
on set,
fun.
and it was really quite an amazing experience. And of course, On Golden Pond.
Yeah, of course.
The other huge
course.
film, but so many in between.
Oh, there have been tons.
Yeah.
I mean, really, and we're hoping that New Hampshire will continue to be a place where films are made. We love making films here. It's not an easy place to live if you're trying to make movies. It's not LA, it's not New York, so most of the people that we work with don't live around here, and that's a challenge for many reasons. But it's so rewarding if you can make it work here. It's exceptional, And most of the people that we know in Los Angeles are they're working, nose to the grind so that they can get to a place where they can move somewhere like New Hampshire, and
Right.
build their career up enough. So it's a little tougher on us right now, staying here and trying to make it all work. But in the long run, if we can keep plugging away at it and find really the support that we need here and the type of investors who are interested in New Hampshire-made films, then it'll really be incredibly rewarding to us in the long run.
So talk about the parallel between being an executive director and producer of a film festival as well as a film.
Yeah, great question. Very similar in the sense that producing a film, I mean, first of all, it's organization. It's a lot of organization. And you essentially, when you make a movie, I mean, you're really creating a small town for a number of days, you know. You need a police force, you need a mayor, you need restaurants, you need hotels, you need all these things that then take on terms like production manager and, you know, craft services and all these different things. And then it's a matter of orchestrating the entire town and making sure that it functions the right way and that they're communicating well together and all that kind of stuff. So those organizational skills are very similar to a film festival because we utilize restaurants, hotels, we utilize venues, local artists, students, all that kind of stuff. So the coordination is very similar. It also, it's very fast-paced, and it's a lot of hours, and you need to have a lot of energy.
Well, I just can't believe that you're also doing music and producing your own film and launching the Monadnock International Film Festival. I mean, you don't sleep.
I don't sleep much. I don't have much of a life. I will be honest. I have been called a workaholic by many of my friends. But
when you're doing something you're
passionate about it.
Right.
Exactly. That's the thing. I wake up in the middle of the night, not because I mean, yes, I'm stressed that the ads aren't going to go out on time or something, but I'm also excited because I wake up in the middle of the night thinking, oh my gosh, we should have this film crew come in and be the media sponsors for this, and I'll connect it with this company. You know, so, and it's great, you know, making those connections. And that's what film production, you know, pulling that together, you're thinking, well, who could I pull in for location managing, and that'll help them benefit their restaurant, and if they've got these connections and we can get this for free, this in kind. So it's a lot of that kind of stuff anyway. So the skill set is very, very similar. And then not so much myself, because I don't have many, you know, I'm not friends with any A-list actors, but in film, the same way that you look at your Rolodex and see who your friends are and who you can pull in to get good names, better crew, it's the same thing with the film festival. So Aaron and Peter and Sarah and Adam and, you know, members of our board are all sort of looking at people that they may know who they can bring in and feature at the festival.
What did I want to jump to? Oh, Jumanji.
Yeah.
When we did Jumanji here, you know, back in the 90s, speaking about the community piece, I remember when Woolworths was still here, as I'm sure many people who are watching today recall, it had just recently closed. So Woolworths became the craft services center.
Got it.
So around the corner was where the truck was, and then everybody would gather every day, all of the extras, everybody to eat in Woolworths and chat. And Dow Griffith was the location manager, and he was just terrific. And there was a jewelry store here at the time that did the jewelry for... God, you know, I love film, but I'm sometimes bad with names. What's her name?
Kirsten Dunst?
Bonnie Hunt.
Oh, Bonnie
Hunt.
Yes,
okay. Had a particular necklace done.
Got it.
And it was just so
cool.
great because they went to the Salvation Army to get props.
Yeah,
they
of
really
course.
pulled together to make the film as local an experience as possible. So tell us a little bit about what you've put in place today for the film festival with local vendors and businesses and how they're contributing.
So we have modeled a lot of our festival off of the New Hampshire Film Festival. Yeah, that is a fantastic film festival.
And how many years has that been around?
I thought it was on their 14th this coming up year, and they just finished their 13th. Someone else told me 12th last I heard, so it's somewhere in there. It's a substantial amount of years.
Yeah, long
It's
term.
impressive, yeah. It's a great festival. We go every year. We've had our movie play there. I was on a panel for them this past year, and they just do it right. You know, they know how to maximize on New Hampshire and also be Hollywood at the same time. You know, so we've taken a lot of tips from them, and they operate on a $60,000 budget, but their in-kind budget is about $300,000, somewhere around there, almost there, which shows how much their community kind of rolls out their own red carpet and makes that event happen, and they value it. So we're operating the same size budget, $60,000, which we're almost up to, not quite. We're almost there, a little bit more. And then we have a very substantial amount of in-kind donations so far. So, for example, festivals are all about the after parties. That's a fact. So we have 3 amazing restaurants donating after parties. We have
no kidding. Donating.
Oh yeah.
Space, food, all of it.
It's been wonderful.
Wow.
Yeah. So Luca's Mediterranean Cafe. We have Nicola's Trattoria, and we have Fireworks. So 3 of the most beautiful places.
And all right downtown.
All within walking distance, which is key. And then we also have Ramunto's Pizza is coming in all 3 days, during which, and we took a tip from the New Hampshire Film Festival on this. They have flatbreads doing the same thing. We'll have pizza being donated and available in the lobby and check-in area of the festival at all times every day. So if you're in between screenings and don't have time to grab lunch, Ramunto's has got pizza there for you.
Well, we all know that food, brings people out,
totally,
for sure.
Totally.
So that's pretty incredible.
That'll be fun, yeah. And then so many in-kind things. We've got Silver Direct is our printer, and they've done in-kind donations.
She's terrific.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
We have our venues, the Colonial Theater, the Putnam Theater, and the Redfern Arts Center are giving us huge discounts on our rental fees and really helping us try to make everything as cost-effective as possible with their staffing, all that kind of stuff. For our swag bags, which are really fun, there is a special tote bag you get if you purchase the VIP pass, or if you are a VIP, such as a guest filmmaker, celebrity. And these bags are full of ridiculous things. For example, we just had Douglas Toys donated 200 stuffed plush toys. We have Badger Balm donated 200 lip balms. So ridiculous, random, amazing things that you get for free in the swag bag just by coming to the festival and getting a pass. So, I mean, the amount of in-kind sponsors is absurd so far. It's been completely breathtaking to me as far as seeing how supportive this community has been. So a lot in a short answer.
So one of the things this region is known for certainly is its generosity. And the idea of bringing a film festival to the Monadnock region is not necessarily new, but I think of this caliber is just huge.
Exactly.
To liken it to the New Hampshire Film Festival is a big deal. Is there any sort of tug of war though between doing a film festival here in Keene that really wants to be a big girl, like the New Hampshire Film Festival? I mean, I think it's terrific that they have been so generous with their wisdom and their process and telling you how to get things done.
It's a good question. The main reason why I'll say there's not a current tug of war is, first of all, we're in the spring, and that's the great thing, is that they have theirs in the fall, and we are so fall-centric in Keene, especially with Pumpkin Fest. There's tons going on here, but there's not much happening in the spring. And so at present, we're sort of balancing that. So that's number one. And of course, any film initiatives that happen in the state helps everybody. We are good friends with the people who run New Hampshire Film Festival. Nicole Gregg is unbelievable. We just love her. And I had a conversation with her at this last film festival, and I said, I was just saying, I want to kind of clear the air and make sure that we aren't seen as a competition. And I said to her, I said, but I don't think I really have to worry because we've never had a film festival, so we're not really competition. And she laughed. She's like, yeah, and she just said, she goes, it takes a lot of work to do a film festival. She goes, and it is a lot of in-kind support. So I love the fact that she didn't remotely take a threatened attitude of, well, we're already, she knows that it is going to be an incredible endeavor just to make an event happen. And once we get going and up and running and have had a few festivals, then maybe we'll talk about being contender. But they have done amazing things. We're not worried about, competing with them. If anything, a nice healthy amount of competition is all that I foresee, and it's a good thing,
Well, they've really created the blueprint.
Oh, totally.
About how to get this done. And I'm sure that you're connected to the Travel and Tourism Bureau.
Yeah, we actually received a grant this year from New Hampshire Tourism. It's called the Joint Promotion Grant, and we partnered with the Keene Chamber of Commerce, the Greater Keene Chamber of Commerce, and with What's Keene. I don't know if you know what that is yet.
Well, tell us about What's Keene.
Okay, well, so we got this grant, though, that doubled our advertising and printing budget.
Wow.
So, which has been great. So a little bit more about What's Keene. It stands for Wine, Hospitality, Arts, Tasting, and Shopping. And it basically was this beautifully blown up version of Restaurant Week. A lot of the restaurants said Restaurant Week is good, but we need more, you know. And some of the other vendors were thinking, well, we want to get in on it, and we're, you know, shop owners and you know, and not restaurants, but how can we participate? And so a group of people decided to come together and said, let's have a week celebrating Keene. It's called What's Keene? And they found out we were doing a film festival, and so they said, let's kick off at the same time, because we sort of fulfill the arts, or one of the arts portions of their festival.
Right.
So everything starts on April 4th, and then What's Keene will continue for another week, because they're a 10-day event actually. They'll continue for 7 days after the film festival. And so far the partnership has been wonderful.
So there'll be special opportunities for visitors coming into the region and local residents.
Special menus at the restaurants. There'll be wine tasting in some of the clothing stores. There'll be all sorts of really interesting things. Yeah. Which then helps, you know, it gives us something else to offer to our visitors who come for the film festival.
Right.
But there's more happening in our town while they're here, so it benefits everybody.
So let's talk about if someone wants to go to the film festival. What are the different levels of tickets and options to attend?
Great. So your average ticket is $10. It's pretty much an average. You'll get a movie ticket anywhere from $7 to, gosh, in some places $18 these days. So we thought 10 was, you know, it's not too expensive, but it gives us a little bit more than your $8 ticket, because it's not only the screening you're watching, but we have guest filmmakers here for Q&A afterwards, so it's an event, you know. So an individual ticket, $10 you can get in. If you want to have a pass, which is your film pass, that's the first kind of pass, gets you into all 7 of our screenings. It is $45, so that way it saves you, you know, $25.
So people get to see 7 films. With a Q&A.
With Q&As, yeah.
For $45. Okay, and that's a pretty terrific deal.
It is. Thank you. I'm glad you think so.
Absolutely.
And we also have panels that will be happening, and I can give you more details about that in a minute, but the panels are all free and open to the public. So with your $45 ticket, you get into all the screenings and the panel, which is both panels, which are great. And then you have your VIP pass, which is a $75 price ticket, but that gets you into every film, all the panels, and all 3 after parties and an opening reception.
Well, that's crazy.
Thank you.
That's
I agree.
crazy good. I mean, that really makes it affordable to have the film festival experience in your own backyard. And if you're a film nut like I am, and like many of my friends are, I mean, why wouldn't you want to plan your whole weekend around great movies, an opportunity to, you know, get up close and personal with people involved in the film, whether that might be producers, directors, actors, and then go to the party
where all of those producers, directors, actors will be.
And you get the swag.
You get the swag bag for that.
Well.
And that's the thing every day. And most of our guests, because it's a 3-day festival and it's in New Hampshire, the really great thing we found is that most of the guest filmmakers and celebrities we're bringing in want to come for the whole weekend. So they'll be at every party, they'll be having a drink, you could go up and talk to them if you wanted to. So these are all perks of being a VIP pass holder.
So you can rub shoulders with the celebrities. Yeah, that's pretty exciting. I had the opportunity to go out to LA to see the premiere of 8.
Oh, wonderful.
With George Clooney and Brad Pitt and Jane Lynch and Cleve Jones, of course, for those of you who know me as Executive Director of AIDS Services for the Monadnock region and the founder of the AIDS Memorial Quilt. Cleve, of course, is one of our heroes. And I have to say, I'm not the kind of girl that gets really starstruck, but there was something about being at a premiere in LA in a fabulous theater.
I understand that.
And when Kira Sedgwick, you know, bumped into me and said, "Oh, I'm so sorry." It's like, "Oh, it's all right, Kira. Really, truly, it's all right." So we could have a similar experience here. And we're going to talk more about, as we progress throughout these shows, we're going to just drop tidbits of information to keep people interested about the details of a lot of the films and just who might be here. But what can you tell us now? Because there's several elements, right? There's the films, there's the people participating in the panels, there's a special award that's going to be given that helps to make this film festival really very special to the region. So tell us what you can to sort of wet our whistle on this.
Perfect, good. So let's talk about the award first.
All right.
You know, when this festival was sort of first conceived of, it was a really wonderful group of people who were in conversation discussing the fact that film is a really great medium both, to communicate something, that movies say something, and that movies can be instigators of change and can uplift people and unite people. You're in a movie theater and you're sitting there with 200-300 strangers, complete strangers, but you're sitting next to them and you're watching this movie and you're all laughing at the same time, you're all crying at the same time, you're being moved and shaken, united to these strangers who are sitting right next to you in this common shared experience. And it's absolutely beautiful when you think about it like that. And so they were talking about, well, let's do a film festival in the desire to really, change and upgrade, if you will, the quality of life here in Keene. And then they approached people like Aaron Wiederspan and other local filmmakers and brought them on board as the film experts and started discussing, let's make this film festival happen, et cetera. And they always wanted to remember that fact that they were drawn to the idea of a film festival because movies matter. And movies matter is our tagline. And so the film festival has become an international festival. It is there are no niches, there are no politics. It is a international film festival. That is what it is. But the way to still appreciate sort of that early feeling and inspiration, we decided to create an award that goes to a filmmaker whose body of work or a particular film really makes a difference. And we're not talking like a Hallmark kind of feel-good, or social activist, very political movie. We're talking about a movie that it may be subtle, it may be sad, but that it says something and it celebrates the human spirit in a very particular way. And so we said, well, let's tie it into something regionally. Who do we have here regionally to celebrate of that sort of social awareness bent? And we thought about Jonathan Daniels, who's a really wonderful figure, regional figure, and there's a great committee called the Jonathan Daniels Martin Luther King Committee, who have been very involved in the film festival and giving their 2 cents on the award and helping sponsor the award, et cetera. And so we have a sculptor that is creating a beautiful sculpture. That's the award to be given.
Oh, that's terrific.
And there's a cash prize along with it. It's a $1,000 gift because it really shows from our first year that Keene values filmmaking.
So this is not necessarily a filmmaker who will be here with a film, but somebody who will be acknowledged for their work?
Close.
Okay.
So they will be here. That's our goal, at least for the first few years. We'll see what happens in the future, but we really want to have, if we're going to give an award to a filmmaker, we want it to be a filmmaker who values that type of an award enough that they will be here for it, It doesn't have to be a film that necessarily is recent, came out this year, it is in festivals. It could be something a few years old, or like I said, a body of work, so their whole history of filmmaking. So a lot of people have asked, well, does the award go to one person, like you pick one movie out of the 7 films you're showing? And it's not that. We specifically search for the right awardee separately from looking for at our programming. So this year it will be somebody who has a recent film, but it doesn't always have to be. So the filmmaker will be here with their film. It's just, question is whether or not the film will have been, made in 2013 or beyond, or, before that.
So the winner of the Jonathan Daniels Award has already been determined.
She, he,
He,
she.
yes.
I'm not giving anything away.
No genre, no anything.
Nothing. No. And it could be any genre as well. But I will just tell you, it'll be a great night, and it'll be it's a very fitting person for this first year, and for the piece of film that it is. It is so deserving of this award. So that's about the Jonathan Daniels Award.
And when will that be? When will that happen?
The award, it's on the closing night ceremony. So it's the very last film, Saturday night, 7 p.m. So April 6th,
and that will be at the Colonial.
Theater.
So we kick off on April 4th at the Colonial. In the evening. How many films? One
that
or two?
Night, just one. We have an opening reception, we have a film, and then a closing after party. Okay. So 2 parties in one film. We're starting off by making a statement.
And where will the opening reception be? In the theater?
That'll be in the theater.
Okay.
And then that first night is at Nicolas.
At
that
Nicolas.
First night.
Okay.
So we'll all walk over.
And then on the next night, Friday.
So all day Friday, how it works, we'll have We have a shorts program, which has been really fun to curate. We've been looking at short films from all over the world. It's been great, and have had so many good ones to choose from. It's really hard to narrow down, but we've gotten there. We have our shorts program figured out. We will have a panel on documentary filmmaking. We will have another feature-length film that afternoon, and that evening we'll have, and all that happens at the Putnam Theater.
All at the Putnam, okay.
And then that evening we'll have our closing night film. It'll be at 7 p.m. at the Redfern Arts Center, and then an after party at Lucas to follow that evening.
Okay.
And then on Saturday, similar type of setup. We have a panel. This time it's on television. Which will be very fun. There'll be some interesting guests here with that one, I'll just say. We have a matinee film. We're going to have a foreign film. And we have a classic film, which is going to be really great. We got a 35 millimeter print from Criterion Collection, which is a fantastic film distributor, if for anyone who doesn't know about it. Some of the great old films that would not be available on DVD to your average Joe who's never seen them, Criterion Collection is made possible, as well as some great new films as well. So they are hooking us up with a great 35 millimeter print, which will be fun.
Can you tell us what year it was made?
Oh, you know what? I should know the exact year.
Well, ballpark. 30s, 40s? Is it a silent film?
I'm not telling you anything.
All right. All right. Well, we don't get any sort of
It's exciting.
helpful
I will
hints
tell
on
you
that.
this much. It is a black and white film, which gives you some range,
so
but I won't give
noir.
anything else away.
Okay.
Which will be great. And then that evening is the award ceremony. So we have our film, we have In Conversation with the awardee afterwards, and then we have our closing night party at Fireworks.
And that's
our
at the
festival.
Colonial.
Yes, yeah, that's
A
the
closing
Colonial.
night. Anything for children?
Good question. That is an area that we are looking to branch out to in the future. We don't have anything at present for this year, simply because it is a sidebar at most for film festivals. Most film
Right.
festivals don't have that. We would love to be able to offer something like a family outdoor screening night or something fun like that in the future. While I'm on the topic, another thing that we are working on for the future, it's a regional festival. So this year it's in Keene, but in the future years we would like to begin to expand and do Peterborough as well as Keene, Jaffrey as well as Keene and Peterborough, and continue to branch out that way. And so that's also where, now that you have more opportunity for programming, that we could have something specifically for families and kids happening at the same time.
Well, there's certainly other great theaters in the
Oh,
region.
they're
I mean, I don't know
beautiful
is the
theaters.
Park Theater fully restored yet?
No, not yet. They're in the
In
works. The Park Theater actually came on board as an official sponsor for our film festival, which is
Terrific.
great.
Yeah.
Caroline Hollister actually even hosted a beautiful private launch party we did to start spreading the word about the festival a few months ago. So they've been very supportive. A, because they're wonderful, and film is a passion of theirs, but B, because they see it as an investment for the future, so that next year or the year after, they can be participating in it.
So your thinking is that one community, a different community every year?
Nope.
We still would.
Still in Keene, so that
Oh.
we add on,
Oh my
so that the whole
goodness.
Monadnock region has film going on, which would be an amazing endeavor and exciting. But we are not doing it this first year, so I don't have a heart attack.
Goodness, no. You'd need at least a couple of other people to help you with that. You know, the notion of film being so important as a community conversation makes me think again of Jumanji, because that was such a big deal for this area, from the extras casting to the cast party, and then the showing of the film at the Colonial Theater was one of those nights that was, and I'm sure a lot of people watching might remember this, was such a terrible snowstorm.
Oh, really?
Such a horrendous snowstorm, and I was living out in East Alstead at the time.
Ooh.
I wasn't sure I was ever going to be able to get in, but I did. We had feet of snow, and that theater was packed. There wasn't a seat open at the Colonial. And so every time anything remotely related to Keene came on the screen, we were all to cheer and hoot and holler and applaud and stand up. And we did that for the whole 2 hours.
Oh, that's
and
awesome.
it was just fantastic.
How
just a
fun.
fantastic celebratory moment for the community and the film. Then a second moment that occurs to me, I've seen so many movies in this area throughout the years. The Colonial, once upon a time, had water running down the walls up in the balcony before its beautiful restoration.
Wow.
Yes, there was a time when the Colonial was in serious jeopardy, and
I
that's
can't
a whole
even
other show.
imagine
But
that
certainly
now.
a lot of people who are still in this area gave their heart and soul and tax credits to be able to bring the theater back to what it was. But I remember watching Boys Don't Cry in the theater. And again, it was an opportunity where instead of 20 or 30 people in the theater, the place was packed. And I've never been to a film in a theater anywhere where when it was over, nobody moved. Nobody could move because of the content matter of Boys Don't Cry. And everyone, it was just this feeling of connectedness
Exactly.
in the theater around our grief and sorrow and horror at what happened in that film. So the idea of a film festival as a connector for all of us, is an emotional quotient among us as community members, is really powerful. And creating an award around the life of Jonathan Daniels really helps to set apart the work that you are birthing. I mean, you're really birthing this incredible
totally.
effort. And so the notion of international then, so here we have this beautiful community piece, but we bring in the broader community by including international films. When you talk about international, are they subtitled? What can people expect?
Yeah, good question. It's a mix. For this first year, we've been watching movies from all over the place. I just watched a film that I absolutely loved. It was a German-made film in Turkey. So it's a Turkish film subtitled in English, and it was so good, and it was so fitting for this festival, but there just wasn't room on the list for it this year, unfortunately. But that's the kind of stuff we're watching. I mean, I saw a movie that was shot in South Africa. We've seen French-Canadian films. We've seen Italian films. So yes, the foreign film will pretty much most definitely always be a subtitled film. There may be more than one foreign film in the future. I love foreign cinema. That's just, I lived in Europe for a while, and that is just so my speed.
When the subtitle, as long as the subtitles appear on the bottom of the screen,
yes,
it's always so frustrating when they're cut off. and you can't quite read
there'll
exactly
be good
what's
subtitles.
going on.
They'll be made just for this and ready and etc. But yeah, it'll be different for some people who are maybe not as used to foreign cinema, but the opportunity to come see it. And the Colonial Theater does a really wonderful job, as well as the Putnam, with their programming, and they bring foreign cinema in all the time.
Oh, sure.
So anyone who usually frequents those is more than used to subtitled.
So for people who are watching, who are interested in the notion of a film festival, but don't necessarily go to the movies a lot.
Yeah.
Excuse me. This is live, and I have a cold.
Oh. Should I dance in the meantime?
Yeah, go ahead. Take up some time here. If people have difficulty hearing, there are devices available, aren't there, to help them with that?
Yeah, that's a good question. In general, yes. I know, just trying to think, I know that I have one friend who has sort of a device that she uses every time she goes to the movies, specifically for that. The theaters that we have here, I've never had a problem with the amazing amount of sound that they all produce. It depends, you want good theaters for that, first of all. So for this festival, we haven't really thought much about that, but that's an interesting question. Be worth thinking about.
So people who are newcomers to a film festival can really feel a level of comfort.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about the nuts and bolts of when to arrive at the theater, where people buy their tickets. Can they go online? If you don't have a computer, what's the phone number?
Great
that sort
question.
of thing.
Yeah. So number one, the most commonly used way to buy tickets is online. So our website is MONIF, that's MONIFF for Monadnock International Film Festival, monif.org. That's going to be your number one place to buy tickets. Tickets go on sale on February 22nd, so a week from tomorrow. So dates would be different for people watching at home.
Right, but the 22nd, and that's Visa, MasterCard.
Yeah.
Any
PayPal,
other credit cards? PayPal?
I believe we're doing it through the Colonial Theater, so whatever cards they usually take.
Oh,
and
okay.
I believe that they take every card pretty positive. If you also don't want to purchase it online, happen to live downtown, you will be able to buy tickets at the Colonial Theater box office. VIP passes, everything. You can do any kind you want. We also will be partnering with the Putnam Theater. You can buy tickets there, especially if you're a student.
By walking in.
Yeah, just walk into the box office. And then we're also looking for a few local locations, as well as places in Peterborough, Jaffrey, Dublin, Marlborough, surrounding towns where people, if they're from that town and want to stop in, don't want to buy online, that they can. So a full list of all of those locations will be available on our website on February 22nd. So, just stay tuned then. We also are having a launch party that's going to be on February 22nd.
Aha, another party.
Another party.
But this is the big party. This is the kickoff launch party? Okay, what are the details?
So the details, it's not a long party. It's only from 5 to 6:30. And it's at the Marriott Hotel. It's right in the lobby, so come on in. It's a free, open to the public party. There'll be a cash bar. They have a great little bar there. And High Tea, which is this amazing high-end catering, hors d'oeuvre, appetizer, party planner company. Absolutely amazing.
From where?
They are right here in Keene, but they do a lot of their catering in Boston, all around.
Tell me again what it's called.
It's called High Tea, and tea just like the letter T.
Okay.
And they started sort of with an appreciation for tea and doing tea parties, and then realized our food is amazing, and we will branch out beyond that. And I just saw the menu for this party. It is unbelievable. You have no idea what you are in for. I'm trying to remember some of them because they're so complicated. It's like roasted duck on this with this sauce, and salmon fluff with this, and regatta this. I mean, it's...
So it's not cream cheese and cucumber sandwiches
no.
cut in little wedges.
No, it will be
okay.
amazing. And it's a whole themed event. They're doing a beautiful spread for sort of the classic golden age of cinema, and they're using film reels cases to put things on. It's going to be beautiful. Maureen Mativier, who is actually our latest board member, and she came from the film world herself, and her husband is a fantastic AC right now in the film world as well.
AC?
She assistant cameraman and or operator, and she runs High Tea. It's her and another friend of hers, and the two of them are donating a beautiful spread to us.
Wow.
Which is great, speaking of donations and in-kind support.
So that's at the Marriott.
That's at the Marriott, so come
on
eat
what
some of
date?
this food. It's on Friday, February 22nd, 5 to 6:30, and the sort of run of the show will be you arrive. We will do a formal announcement of all of our films and our guest filmmakers and celebrities. We will have our promo video showing. We may even show 1 or 2 trailers of the movies that are coming. You can meet our whole board. Will be there. I will be there, and you can start to buy tickets right then. So we'll have them on sale.
So again, we're talking about a week from now, Friday, February 22nd, 5 to 6:30 at the Marriott. And it's this beautiful buffet of food put together by High Tea, and it doesn't cost a penny. And you get the scoop about what the movies will be, who will be coming, all of that great stuff. So
you're reselling me. I want to go to this now.
I want to go. I'll be there. I want
Great.
to talk a little bit about your board members and how, because I'll tell you, the first time that I heard about the Monadnock International Film Festival was from my friend Jamie Contois. She and I worked together on Monadnock Live Free and Equal coalition work around marriage equality and some other things. And this was probably a year and a half ago. She said to me one day, do you like movies? I said, yes, I very much like movies. She said, well, then you have to come to the Monadnock International Film Festival. And I said, what? She said, yeah, the Monadnock International Film Festival. You haven't heard about it yet, but it will be real, and you will want to come, and you just have to help us, make this happen. So that was a year and a half ago. How long have you been involved in pulling together a board, setting the plan in motion? At least 2 years.
Great question, yeah. So the board got together almost 3 years ago now, and Jamie Contois was a founding member. She's a co-chair of our board right now. A lot of those initial board members have phased out and are on the advisory committee, and we now have new board members. There are 13 members in total, some of which have just come on board 2 months ago. Others were on since a year and a half, 2 years ago. And then I was hired in September. So I had always known about the film festival as a local film enthusiast and employee, whatnot, myself. And was very supportive of it, but was not a board member. And then in September, they sort of asked me to come and interview and asked me to be the director, which has been great. So I've only been on the project since then. But the board is, I cannot rave about them enough. Not only are they incredibly active, but the diversity we have in our board, both from career and focus to politics to age to gender, everything. I mean, it's been a really wonderfully put together board. And we have filmmakers such as Aaron Wiederspawn of Either Or Films. We have Adam Jones, who is a local, really wonderful director from Henniker. We have Sarah Steinberg-Heller, who produced Only Daughter with us this summer. She also co-produced a film called Girlfriend that premiered at Toronto International Film Festival a few years ago. We also have Ted Raviv, who works for Florentine Films. So sort of this film, and then Maureen Mativier, who came from film as well, film-centric group. We have Bill Smith, who is from in-house media and came from radio, television, that whole world, and has been a really wonderful asset to our board. Let's see where we're at in case I lose film. So lose count, we got Aaron, Ted, Sarah, Adam, Maureen, Bill. We have Lisa Murray, who is, she came from development at Peterborough Players and now works at Franklin Pierce University, so representative of both of those things, and a huge resource to us. Peter Condon is the other co-chair of the board. He is wonderful, and he is the president of our film society, of the Keene State College Film Society. I think it's mine because I love it so much. Michael Brashears, who is from the Keene Sentinel and brings a huge amount of expertise from the ad and PR world, etc. We have Jamie White, who's from Southwest Community Services, and she sort of came on from the organizing and social activism world, which has been a great addition. Jamie Contois, of course, who speaks for herself. Many of you know her from political campaigns to organizing. She is wonderful. Let's see, that's 12. We got one more, Kelly Dowd, who is our attorney, and he's from Bragdon, Dowd, and Caseta. He is the Dowd of that, and is unbelievably generous with his time in helping us get all of our legal ducks in a row. And that's really for, you know, the first year or two that the festival was around, or in its inception. That's what time was spent doing, was going through getting all of our D&O insurance, our event insurance, going through filing for our own 501c3 nonprofit. You know, this year we are working with Arts Alive. They're a fiscal sponsor, and we absolutely love them, and they are a wonderful partner for us. But in the future, we'd like to be our own sort of tax-deductible center. And so getting all of that stuff, you know, worked out, and getting a few early grant monies and individual donations for seed money to try to just get stuff started. That's what kind of they were doing for the first few years.
And now you're ready to launch.
Yes, we are, for better or worse.
It seems like it's as always with huge endeavors, huge ambitious endeavors like this. You have to crawl before you can walk.
Oh, yeah.
But you've literally hit the ground running.
Yes.
You know, it seems to me that the ramp up has been so much work behind the scenes in order to prepare you to be able to just come right out of the gate. All of these metaphors, but you know, they're apt to just literally, you know, be there.
Totally.
I mean, here you are, somebody's good idea a few years ago,
and now
bunch
all
of people
a sudden,
sitting around a table, and
yeah, and I'm a hired employee now for an idea, which is really fantastic. And a lot of, you know, there was a lot of crawling before walking in those early years, just making sure that they set everything up with a sturdy foundation, which is invaluable, especially with something that you really want to, that is this large and this ambitious, and that you want to be sustainable. And we don't want to be the film festival that was. We want to be the film festival that happens every year.
Yes, and that really is the key.
Totally.
Many years ago at the Putnam Theater, when I worked at Keene State College, so we're talking about the 80s, I was doing some freelance writing, and so we had the Australian Film Festival.
Oh,
a guy named Bob Gunther, who Peter knows very well, who has since passed on, but had some experience as a child actor, and just always loved film. And so he was involved with the film studies program, and he fell in love with Australia and Australian film. So he would bring Australian film
cool.
year after year. I think that was 6 or 7
Neat.
years. Peter could correct me. And so it would just be so much fun. I would go and preview the films and then write the review of the film, which would run in a local paper, used to be known as Entertainment Times. Maureen McHugh, if you're watching this, you're still around, used to publish that newspaper. But that was a love of, an individual who had the access to the facility, made sense with the Keene State Film Society and the Film Studies program. But it was so sad when it went away because there was not this kind of underpinning of an independent festival. So what's really exciting to me, coming from a world where organization is everything, is the idea that you have done everything right.
Hopefully.
and that you have evolved from a small group of people into an organization that is committed and thriving with energy and enthusiasm. And certainly Jamie telling me 2 years ago, yes, this is the Monadnock International Film Festival, when it hadn't, been real.
Oh, that is
yet.
Jamie. She is
just amazing.
She is a go-getter and a powerhouse. I can't tell you how many times we'll be sitting there and she'll have an idea and I'll just know. And she volunteers so much of her time. And all of a sudden, she'll have this idea and thinking, we should really make this happen by tomorrow. Some outlandish thing, and she gets it done. I mean, it's amazing. She is a huge force behind this festival. I utilize Aaron Wiederspan to a ridiculous degree as well, simply because we work together. So everything that we work on ends up going back into Monif stuff and helping. He is just also a powerhouse of ideas, and he comes with a huge wealth of knowledge as far as organizing, and has worked his entire life since high school in the arts and really knows how these type of things operate. The other thing is his first film, Sensation of Sight, which we mentioned, it went all over the world to film festivals. It was in South Africa, it was in China, Brazil, Lithuania, Poland, Estonia. I mean, you name it, it went there. And Aaron went to quite a bit of the film festivals with it, and so he saw firsthand what it takes to make a great festival happen. Ones that filmmakers love and are drawn to, the type of town that works very well for a film festival. So he's bringing a lot of that knowledge to the table and really helping us sort of guide this ship as far as what to create this time around.
And the people who are on your board, I know that Jamie has recently moved to Vermont.
Yes.
Are they essentially from this region, or they're from all over the place?
They're from the region, but not many of them are from Keene, which has actually been wonderful in a lot of ways. We have people driving half an hour, 45 minutes for every board meeting, which I love because they a lot of them work in Keene or did live in Keene or have ties here, but they're invested in a regional festival. So we'll never get to the place where we want to branch out, but there's no one out there to help do it,
smart.
Which is very important to me. I mean, I live in one of the buildings that was actually, Jumanji was, the building with the shoes that they paint up for Jumanji. I live in that building, so I am right here and kind of have my finger on the pulse of this downtown. But I need all of those other people sort of working the entire region, so it's a wonderful collaboration.
Speaking of Keene State, am I correct to say that there are some people involved in helping to launch the festival who are also in the film program at Keene State College?
Yes, a few different things. We have Dottie Morris has come on board as a sponsor, which has been really, really great. The Division of Culture is
multicultural.
Thank you. I always get it
diversity,
wrong. Thank you. They're sponsors, so she's been wonderful. And then we have 2 interns from Keene State College who are getting credit for their involvement, and they are wonderful.
Boy, talk about the dream internship.
Oh, I know, it's great. I had one of them was like, I have an internship at this printmaking, which is it's actually a very cool internship as well. He's like, this printmaking thing, it's a half an hour drive, and he's a film student, and I'm sitting there, and I was like, dude, you need to do this internship. He's like, yeah, so it's great. And then we've had every teacher so far that we've spoken to has been so supportive and wonderful. We've had teachers offer credit for students who volunteer or extra credit if they volunteer on a committee or different things like that. And of course, Peter Condon, I mean, he's been hugely successful in helping get us what we need there, et cetera. So
Peter really understands the link between theater and community. He's been very generous with me when we've brought films there that, you know, related to the AIDS pandemic and just through the years. I mean, you've got a great group of people.
Oh yeah, and Peter has a really wonderful appreciation for community and for you know, bringing something out of the norm to the student's experience.
Yes.
You know, he really understands the value of that. Guest filmmakers, I mean, there's a lot of professors there that value that. Jonathan Schwartz brings in amazing guest filmmakers all the time. Lance Levesque is one of the professors who has been helping create this extra credit program. Ted White is helping me create this sort of opportunity for students to have a piece of theirs somehow incorporated in the festival. So I've had wonderful support from every professor I've spoken to thus far.
So we need to wrap up in a couple of minutes, but I can't believe an hour has gone by already,
I know.
which tells you how much more we'll have to talk about after the launch party, which will have occurred when we tape our next show, and we'll really get into some of the meaty conversation around what films, who's going to be here, why, all of that sort of thing. But if you want to leave people with one sort of thought as they consider whether or not they'd like to be participants in the festival, what is it? What's the reason why they should care?
This will be one of the best events that Keene has ever seen, and I say that wholeheartedly. We have Pumpkin Fest, which is incredible. So think about the momentum and the excitement of that. Not to say that in any way that we're going to match that, because it's an incredible endeavor, and I have huge amounts of respect for the people who do it. But the excitement, you know, and the town being involved in something, and then add the arts to it, and add film, you know.
Yeah, to me it's the cultural value
totally.
of what you're doing, which is something that it's a niche that hasn't been filled necessarily in this community.
It's the type of thing, I mean, I moved here to work in film, but as I said, it's sometimes challenging living here. Having a film festival here is one of the things that would, you know, make it so much more worthwhile staying here and living here and working here.
It's a tremendous gift, tremendous gift to the community. So congratulations to you as director and bringing all of your experience, which is incredibly rich, and then all of your board members who are from the region, and this lofty goal, because I am all about lofty goals, and I think that this is really fabulous. So Laina, thank you very much, and I will look forward to our next show in 2 weeks. For all of you watching, MONIF, Monadnock International Film Festival, April 4th, 5th, and 6th. Mark your calendars now. February 22nd, the launch party at the Marriott with some fabulous food and fun and the announcement of all the films and the award winner. I am Susan McNeil, your host of Speak Up. Very happy to be back here with you again, and we'll see you in a couple weeks.